watercolor palettes. There's 6 examples that I want to show, starting off from kindergarten, working all the way through college, all the way to professional watercolor palettes. So let's jump in so we can share this information. So the first one is basically a classic. That this is probably the example of the first palette any artist receives, and this is typically in kindergarten. When you enter kindergarten school, you will usually get one of these little palettes of watercolors. Now, I absolutely loved it as a kid because I thought it was so magical how you can add water to the different colors and then be able to put it on your paper and bring things to life. I never even realized that the lid can be used for mixing your colors. I always just mixed them directly in the little sections, and I would muddy up my different colors. But I think that's classic overall. But this is number 1. These are actually great to just mess around with and have fun with. The second type are very similar to this. It's basically, I would say, the next stage, maybe level 1 or grade 2 or grade 3. Basically, it's still watercolors that come in the little buckets, but they have more options for you. So rather than just having simply one purple, now they'll have a variety or a couple of different options of blue, or a couple of options of green, or a couple of options of brown that will be able to expand the different colors that are available. But both of these are definitely elementary school level overall. In college, I moved up higher into using pigments that were not found in a little palette, but I moved into pigments that were coming from a tube. So the difference between a cake pigment and a tube pigment is usually the tube pigments actually have a more potency, and it can go longer overall. Now, the next 3 palettes that I want to share are palettes. 2 are pretty unique, and then 1 is my favorite. That is the final one. As you get more into watercolor, there are different type of palettes specifically that you can purchase. This is my metallic watercolor painting palettes, specifically to be able to get a fluorescent flow or shine. Oftentimes, if I'm trying to do fish that have a metallic look, or animals that have, or even floral and flowers, I'll come in here and use these for highlights to be able to get the shine that I'm looking for overall, which is a great one. I don't use them on an entire full painting, but usually I'll use these for the highlights that I'm looking for. This 5th palette is a palette that I recently purchased and I haven't actually used yet. But this is a palette, and I'll show you a little cool thing. This is one for being out and about. It has a little hook here on the back that you can throw your finger into, so that way you can hold it if you're doing plein air. Now, this palette is arranged with cakes, which are little teeny section of pigments that come in these little teeny containers. There's actually little metal holders that they can clip into, so that way they don't fall out or slide around. And then it comes with your different pans right here that you can actually mix directly into if you're out. Now, the reason why I haven't jumped into using this palette yet, number 1 is primarily I do all my paintings in studio, so I haven't been really outside doing them. The other is there's too many colors that I get lost in. I see all of these examples, all of this availability right here at my fingertips, and it gets a little, too much. Maybe it's my ADHD where I see all of it and I'm like, oh, I don't want to ruin it and I don't want to jump into it, but I'm going to have to one day be able to jump in, open all of these up, and see what beauties can come from it. Now, finally, I want to show you the final palette that I primarily use for my paintings currently. And this is the in-studio palette that I use. It does come with a lid, So if you need to transport your paintments, you can use this lid directly over it. And the nice thing is it also comes with 4 mixing trays right in your lid. So you can keep that and have multiple mixing trays. This palette is used definitely with liquid or tube paint. So there's different sections for you to put all of your paint, and then 2 large painting mixing areas right here in the middle. It has a little divide, which is nice because I like to keep my warm colors to one side and my cool colors to the others. If you can see that right along here, I have the name of all the different types of paint. Now this is important to me because then I can remember what type of paint were put into each category. So then that way, if I need to refill my reservoir, I'll have that available and I'll know which ones to put in here. So those are the 6 different types. And actually, I have a bonus for you. A bonus number 7 palette. If some of you are concerned about cost, look at this. This is simply a paper plate. It's actually not made out of paper. It's made out of a plastic Dixie material because it's more waterproof. Now I'll use this as a disposable base, meaning if I don't want to ruin my palette, oftentimes I'll put things on a simple paper plate, and then when I'm done, I can whoop, throw it away. But look at that, here's a bonus for you. If you don't want to spend the money to get one of the expensive palettes, just get a bunch of these from Costco. Hey, if you made it this far through the video, I greatly appreciate it. Remember to hit that like and subscribe button. I hope you learned some new information about the different type of palettes that can be used with watercolors, all the way from kindergartens, all the way up through the college experience, and then all the way through the professional experience. Enjoy painting. See you on the next video.